I want to talk about how methylfolate affects depression. It's a question that many have and not everyone understands clearly. Stick with me through the end of the video and we'll step you through the details of how methylfolate works within the body to help with depression. You'll learn about its mechanism of action, how the neurotransmitters are affected, as well as what prescription and dosage options are available to you. I've been selling methylfolate since 2012, long before most people knew what it was. I learned about it through a doctor who was able to save his son's life using the nutrient. I was not only convinced by the science from Dr. Rollins, but also by my journey and the responses that I have heard from my customers when using the nutrient. Many have sent testimonials telling us how powerful this specific form of folate has been for their mood levels, and some have even spoken of being off of depression drugs for the first time in their lives, taking only the methylfolate to help with their formerly incapacitating symptoms. I'll stop and caveat right now that I don't advocate anyone take action without their doctor or health provider's knowledge and consent, especially in the case of depression, which can be so isolating and debilitating. So talk to your doctor if you're looking at methylfolate as a real option to fight your depression symptoms. I'll also say that I had my serotonin levels tested before I started taking methylfolate in 2011, and they were at 85. The normal range for my test was 125 to 185. And then I had them again tested after 3 months. I was feeling so much better. My levels went up to 136, so they came right back into that normal range. I was taking approximately 6 milligrams of methylfolate a day. It just changed my life. That's why I've become a methylfolate expert and am obsessed with ensuring that the methylfolate that I take each day has the best purity, chemistry, and quality on the planet. So how does methylfolate work within the body to battle depression? Basically, it boosts something called SAMe, which is responsible for neurotransmitter production, specifically serotonin. Methylfolate is just a special form of the vitamin folate. You can sometimes see it as 5-MTHF, but methylfolate for short. You're asking, well, if it's just folate, why does it make serotonin differently in our bodies than other forms of folate? Really good question. This is because most folks don't absorb folic acid properly, because it actually has to be converted 4 different times before it can be absorbed by the body and properly use the folate receptor, which will then begin boosting the SAMe to make serotonin. And interestingly enough, over half the population has a mutation that gets in the way of this conversion from folic acid to folate. It's called MTHFR. And this blocks the ability of the body to make the SAMe and the serotonin. So basically, the folic acid inactive form blocks up the receptor so that the receptor can't do its job. But if you take the L-methylfolate form of the vitamin, methylfolate for short, that nutrient will directly tie right into the folate receptor and start boosting that SAMe, which will make more serotonin in the body. If you want to ask a doctor for the prescription of methylfolate, specifically for depression, you'd ask for Deplin. It's important to note that Deplin is what's called an adjunct prescription. It's not classified as a drug, but as a medical food. And technically, it's not recommended to be used on its own for depression, but in conjunction with another antidepressant to make that antidepressant work better for you. However, there have been studies which have shown it head-to-head against some of the top antidepressant drugs on the market, and it can prove for some just as effective as a drug alone. For some, they really benefit from the combination of a drug and L-methylfolate. For others, they might be on a drug and start the L-methylfolate and decide to taper down off of the drug altogether and just take only the methylfolate. Others might be able to take just methylfolate and not need any more drugs at all. Each of us is unique in regards to our needs on this journey, so don't try to go it alone. Talk to a doctor, get a plan to determine whether methylfolate is right for you or not, and if you want to experiment with it or not. And again, I caveat that not all doctors know about Deplin, so be aware of the fact that you may need to find a doctor who's knowledgeable enough to help you. Also be aware that your insurance may not cover Deplin since it's not a drug and it can be pretty expensive. $600 to $700 for a 90-day supply with no insurance. And with insurance, about $160 a month. But it's also worth noting that you can get a pharma quality L-methylfolate over the counter for half that cost. So when I say pharma quality, I mean crystalline structure for stability and potency, calcium salt molecule that has that active 6S isomer only of methylfolate tied to it. This is the kind of methylfolate that we sell. Lastly, methylfolate in high doses like 7.5 to 15 milligrams is not always tolerable by everyone right off the bat. So consider titrating up to the amount, especially if you're sensitive to vitamins or drugs. For more information on the topic, you can search Methyl-Life dosage video. I'll link it in the description. Then you can understand better about how you might want to start with methylfolate. If you found the information helpful, please share it with a friend. If you have questions, blow us up in the comments. Visit us on our website at methyl-life.com. We appreciate you watching, and we look forward to seeing you in our next video.